What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today we're here at Gated Setting Sun. I'm going to show you guys how to get Challenge Mode Gold. Now, Gated Setting Sun is probably one of the easiest ones to do for Challenge Mode Gold, but there's a couple of things that do make it slightly difficult. And one thing that is really fucking annoying with this instance is that the first pull is the hard one. Now, honestly, there are no other pulls in this instance that are very hard at all, except for the first pull. And so basically, the way you do the first pull is you run down here. Everybody should be running on the side of the bridge here, so they don't aggro anything. And you pull everything. Now you can either pull everything up to the edge right there, right next to that brazier, and you can do it like that. And the way we've always done it is we just pull it right up into this cubby hole, and we get right in this cubby hole, and we just pretty much unleash hell on them, like all I don't know, like mildly large DPS cooldowns. We don't really use heroism. Sometimes we use heroism depending on the group that we have, but we didn't really feel like we needed it, and we were going to use heroism on the boss instead. But for this, basically right here, as you can see, sometimes you will have a bomb spawn on you, and that's RNG. That's going to happen, and it is kind of a problem, but it's semi-rare. And you want to just pretty much kill these as fast as you can. And whenever you're moving out, you also want to then make sure that you do not get hit by a bomb whenever you're moving out of here. As you can see, I just got hit by a bomb, and we almost just died right there because a bomb spawned on us. But luckily, we were able to basically get on top of it. Now for the boss here, there's nothing really very special about the boss. And as you can see, we're popping here on the boss, and then we'll also have it up for the last boss too, because this instance will take a little bit over 10 minutes. And basically, whenever he hits 66 and 33%, or 70 and 40%, I'm not really quite sure, he will explode all of the bombs that are around him, or that are in the room. And so you always want to be paying attention to where all the bombs are, and make sure that you don't get hit by any of them. As you can see, I just got hit by one. And so, make sure to be paying attention. And if you're sabotaged, position yourself in a way to where you won't aggro or activate extra bombs like I did, and also that you won't hit other players in your group. And other players in your group should also be positioning themselves accordingly. The next pull here is also pretty easy to deal with. Everybody should be stacked up because these infiltrators all cast smoke bombs, and so if there's 3 of them, there's going to be smoke bombs down all the time. And you should be focusing off the Wind Shaper and interrupting all the casts that he does, but mostly Gale Force, because Gale Force is an AoE cast and it deals damage to everyone in your group. After you kill them, basically you can kite these guys. They usually don't cast Smoke Bomb whenever they're chasing after you, and so if you're kiting them, you usually will be able to just like turn around and like hit them with a couple of spells if you're a caster or something like that. That's what I did on my casters whenever I do this. And basically you kite them and let dots tick them down. Now whenever you're running over this bridge, whenever Ragon is about to ram the bridge, if you jump, you will avoid the stun. It saves 0.1 seconds, so actually it saves about 2 or 3 seconds. So it doesn't really matter, but at the same time it might matter a little bit. Now for this pull here, this is a very heavy damage pull because you have an Enrager that is already enraged. The way I handled this is I opened up with a stun, and I stunned the Rager, and I stopped the damage. And that made this pull, usually this pull is a very difficult pull to deal with, but basically, for whatever reason, like we were very easy for us to deal with this pull. And anyway, so then you should be focusing the Wind Shapers, and also maybe moving away and CCing the Ragers if they get too powerful. You can also dispel their enrages. And it's also important to make sure that you're not standing in front of the Ragers, because they do a cleave. Now for this pull here, you want to CC the front Rager and also the left Rager, and then burn down the Wind Shaper, and the reason for that is that you just don't need to kill those two for the mob count. Just the way that things math out, you just don't need to kill them, and so there's no real reason to. While you're killing this mob, you should be having your entire group be moving towards the elevator, so you can be clicking it again, saving time. And make sure that whenever you click this elevator, everybody jumps a couple times to make sure that they're actually on the elevator, and the game has registered them as being on the elevator. We had our healer fall through the elevator right whenever we got up here, and it was it was a real heartbreaker because, as I said, the first pull is very RNG related and also kind of hard to deal with. The boss is kind of hard to deal with also. The boss does a big, a big attack on your tank, and you want to make sure that you're ready for that. And basically, whenever the boss finishes his bombing run, unless he's going to transition into another bombing run right after that, he will do prey time. He'll finish his bombing run, do prey time, and then as soon as prey time is over, he'll turn to the tank and do a big hit on the tank. I'm talking like 300-400k, and so your tank should have a cooldown up ready for that. Also, you do not want to kill these ads until he goes into his second transition, because he will not spawn more ads. Basically, as long as these ads are up, he will not spawn more ads again. So make sure you keep those alive, just CC them until he goes into his second air phase. And we had very high DPS on him, so we were able to pretty much deal with this very easily. And also be avoiding poison and avoiding fire, obviously. Again, whenever you first start the fight, whenever you face him, you want to go to your left. I always forget to do this because that will position yourself in a way that you can still attack him while he's in the air. Your range can, and that's just kind of a little fun fact there. But as you can see here, we're able to pretty much kill him before he does any big attacks onto the tank, which saves us a lot of time. This is a lot easier to do when you only have one, when you don't have any melee. And also, whenever he dies, the fire does not always immediately despawn. And another thing to save time is you want to click the elevator again after everybody jumps off of it before you pull the boss, so you don't have to wait for the elevator to go all the way down whenever you finish the encounter. And at that point, you can also put a Death and Decay or something at the bottom of this ramp here. And as soon as this thing is clicked, it will spawn the boss. And if that AoE effect is still down there at the bottom, it will pull the boss, and the boss will pull, and so will all of these ads. Now you can say, well, then we're going to wipe. But the thing is, whenever he does his frenzied attacks, which is like his AoE frontal cleave, that AoE frontal cleave will kill these ads. And basically, we knew we didn't really have to deal with that, and we thought it would be safer to just basically kill them in 2 sets. But if you're going for good times, or you just feel confident enough, or you think that you need to do it because you want to make the time, that's one way to do it. Is you put a Death and Decay or something like that on top of him, and or on top of where he's going to spawn. You click that little brazier. You go through the RP event, and then you cancel out of it very quickly. And you're going to be seeing everything coming at you. Obviously, that's when you use all of your cooldowns, which should probably be up by the time you're doing that from the first pull. That was also very healing and cooldown intensive. And so again, basically you want to be, again, not in front of the Ragers. Not in front of the Ragers. You're in front of the Ragers, you get hit. You're fucking retard. Don't be in front of the Ragers. Simple. Now, this commander guy is not very melee friendly. Basically, after he finishes his frenzied assault, he's going to go ahead and put down this green poison. Now, the green poison, if he's in the green poison, he does more damage, and if you're in the green poison, you do less melee damage. And so casters don't have to worry about this at all, but if you're melee, it's kind of a problem. Now, the little ads that he spawns are not really that big of a deal. Best case scenario is you can pull them in front of his frenzied attacks and have him kill the ads, so you don't really have to deal with it. Another thing is if you have an elemental shaman, the elemental shaman can of course use those for chain lightning to proc fulmination to do more damage onto the boss. But if you have an elemental shaman, I'm sure they'll tell you that because everybody likes doing as much damage as they can. Saboteurs spawn. I think it's like on the 2nd or 3rd wave after the frenzied assault, the 2nd or 3rd frenzied assault. And saboteurs are not really that big of a deal. You just need to control them. It's just like another ad. It's just like kind of a little small, I don't know, like fun fact. Whenever you finish that, you need to go in here, and the Ragers that you CC'd from earlier are not gone. And so you need to have 2 people go ahead and CC them. As you can see, the monk CC'd the one on the left, or I CC'd the one on the left, and the monk CC'd the one on the right. You also don't want to fall down, because if I was in Rogue, I'd be fucking dead. And make sure that you jump down to the piece of wood, and then you turn around and you jump down on top of the brazier, the little lamp area, and then you can jump on the ground for a minimum fall damage. Now, whenever you pull this boss, a couple of things are going to happen. The protectorate spawns are going to come, and they're all these very little small ads, and your tank just basically needs to be handling them. Fun fact, if you're a mage, your tank should be kiting the, what's it called? The protectorate spawns under the Rygon and through your Frost Orb. And also the protectorate spawns do like 500% or something like that increased attack speed towards the end of their life whenever they hit 20%. And so you want to make sure that you do not have to deal with that. And so whenever they get very low health, you should be kiting them. And the DPS that's not going up, killing the weak spot on Raygon, should be dealing with CCing those ads. Now the way you deal with who's going to go up on Raygon is basically you have everybody, all DPS goes up and one DPS goes up twice. And so you probably want to have like a dot DPS go up twice, and just so they can keep their dots up the entire time, or just your highest overall DPS. And I don't know why they had me go up twice, but anyway, basically, so it would be like me and the shaman. Shaman goes up, pops Ascendance. I go up and pop like Shadow Blaze or something like that. And then the next time I go up, and then the hunter goes up and he pops Stampede or something like that. And so we have the maximum damage on the weak spot, and hopefully you're able to kill it in 2 ram phases, which is obviously optimal. Now, whenever you break the weak spot, he takes a lot of damage, and also if you're going a lot slower than we are, you also have heroism up for this phase or for the weak spot. You can kind of decide whichever way you want to deal with it. Now the fixate doesn't really do much damage whenever he melees you, and so if the fixate goes on your tank should just tank the fixate, so nobody has to move. You also need to be worrying about the tornadoes, which are not really something you actually really need to worry about. Just make sure that you're not in them. And other than that, it's pretty simple. As you can see, as soon as you get past the first pull, this instance is like really kind of a cakewalk. It's just making sure that you have that first pull down, and not having any RNG fuck you. But other than that, that's pretty much it for this one. So thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.